Welcome back to another edition of the B4evaKool podcast. My name is Rex45, and today we have Louis Ortega in the building. What's going on, man? How you doing today?
What's going on, Rex? How you doing?
Man, I can't complain because, there's some people in the world suck,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word. And it's how, to navigate that space, especially in the space I'm in. With the podcast and the YouTube thing and stuff like that, man. So we'll get into it. I'll save it towards the middle or the end of the show. I don't want to start off on that front. How are things with Dainese? How is the I saw that you guys came out with a Rossi suit that's apparently I can't afford. So how things in Dainese?
Things here are good, man. Things here are good. The company's in good shape. We had some setbacks, not setbacks, but the company was purchased 2 years ago now, almost. And it's been it takes a long time to kind of transition to new management and things like that. But last year was kind of like a big learning curve for a lot of the new people that came on board, but we kept enough of the legacy employees and enough of the legacy, day-to-day workers. And
Right.
Realistically, like, management is management, but day-to-day workers get the work done.
Yeah.
And so we kept the brain trust, even if we lost a lot of the C-level executives. I mean, I hate to say it, C-level executives for the most part are interchangeable.
Right. Yeah.
That's kind of the deal. But keeping the workforce, keeping the people that actually work on the product, develop the products, test the products, and bring them into the market, and the salespeople, that's really where the heart of the company is. And we kept most of the people there, so it's good. It's good.
Right.
That new thing that you just saw in the last couple of days, that Dainese VR46 Rossi collaboration. I actually have a meeting about that in about an hour.
Okay.
Because so there's 46 pieces, but only 44 of the pieces will be sold. The number one piece is going to stay with Dainese in the museum in Vincenza.
Is Rossi going to sign it?
All of them are signed by Rossi.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
All of them are signed by Rossi. Yeah.
Oh,
And then number 46 of 46 is going to go to Valentino Rossi, and he's going to either keep it at his place or put it in his own museum. So yeah, there's only going to be 44 of the 46 will actually be available for purchase, but it's a package. It's a collector's package. So the suit, the helmet, come together. They also come with a display case. Everything is signed by Rossi. There's actually paperwork verifying the authenticity.
Okay.
It gets shipped to whoever buys it in a kind of a crate, because it's a pretty big display. It's not like just a couple of empty boxes. And all the gold pieces are gold. So it's gold leaf on the helmet, painted onto the helmet.
Wow.
And all the metal plates on the suit itself are gold plated metal plates, gold leaf metal plates. So there's gold in the suit, not just gold in color.
So does this mean instead of putting a Rossi statue out front, everybody gets to 44 people will get a pretty much a suit?
A suit with a display case that will hold the helmet and the suit in the display case. Yeah. So
Gotcha.
So I'm trying to make some plans here in the US.
Yeah, I assume the suits are customized so it could fit whoever wants to wear it.
They come in Rossi size.
So
they're not meant to be worn.
Okay.
This is 100%. You put it on your wall, and every day you walk past it and you're like, yo, I'm that level of a fan. I have something exclusive.
I gotta go check Rossi's height and see if I'm anywhere close to him.
I think he's like 5'11", 160 or something like that.
I might have to put some stilts in the boots or something. That's pretty cool. And how did you guys decide to do that? And was he involved in that process from the beginning?
From the beginning. I think the conversation that started last spring, actually, because they knew he was going to turn 46 this year.
Yeah.
And like, there's been a lot of conversation of what can we do when the number 46 turns 46? What special thing can we do? So he worked on the collaborative effort, the design. Like, they went through multiple designs before they came up with this design for the suit, this design for the helmet. Then they started like, how do we make this special? How do we make this a very unique collector's item? How, kind of just make it that like, ultra fan or
Yeah.
ultra collector type of thing.
Yeah.
And after a bunch of consideration and discussion, this is kind of what they came up with. They were like, hey, we'll make this suit in my size based on this design that I'm going to design myself. These are the colors we're going to use. The helmet is going to be my size helmet with the padding that matches the padding I use. So it's actually the helmet he would use if he was going to wear it.
Wow. That's pretty dope.
And everything else. Yeah, man. So it's a really, really cool thing. And then last year we had an auction for a Marco Bezzecchi suit on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
And it sold pretty quickly. And we were like, well, there is a market for this. There's a market for people that want something really exclusive and something from there. Like, imagine you can get a pair of, custom made that only 23 people are going to get, these number 23 Jordans.
Right. Yeah. It seems like the motorcycle industry has caught on in that regards to do the limited production. I mean, we saw it with bikes for a very long time now and stuff like that. But now we're starting to see it with, like what you guys are talking about with Rossi and Bezzecchi and stuff like that. Is it something that's you can, at the end of the year, you can say this brought in X amount of dollar, or is it more like a cool fan factor thing, and you may end up, getting more people coming to Dainese as far as fans and maybe customers?
Yeah, no, you don't really make much money on these limited edition things. It's a lot of time and effort to do it, but it's something unique.
Yeah.
And in this motorcycle industry, sometimes you need to stand apart by doing something unique. And yeah, it's not for every customer. It's not in the price range that most customers can even think about spending for this collector's piece.
Right.
But it's the same thing like when Ducati comes out with a Super Leggera. Not everybody goes to a Ducati dealership and buys a Super Leggera. It's $100,000 motorcycle, but those people that have the money and want this ultra exclusive, numbered thing, they're willing to pay for it. Aprilia is doing that right now with the Extrema. They've got an RSV4. I think it's like $140,000, $150,000 for this RSV4, but it's like a legit super bike, and they're only making, I forgot, like not a lot. I think it was like 15 or 16 of these bikes, but they're selling them because people want this ultra exclusive. I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that, something nobody else has, even if they never use it. This is a collector's piece. Like here in the US, we would like to put at least one set of this suit on display in different areas. So we might bring one to MotoGP, and let people see it there. We might even work with like a couple of motorcycle museums to display them in the museum for a time period, or doing an event. We don't want to just have it hide somewhere in somebody's closet, but
right.
We'll see. Like I said, I have a call in about an hour, and I'll let you know exactly how much I believe I know how much the price is going to be.
I got a small museum back here, Just let me know if you're looking for
it. Might take two of those Ducatis you just bought, but we'll see. But we already have 3 customers in the US that have put deposits down on them already without knowing the price. Just what can I do to guarantee I'm going to get one of these 46 pieces? I'll give you this much down payment today.
Oh, wow.
And we're like, well, we can't even take your money. I don't even know how to take the deposit.
Right.
I don't have a SKU for that. I don't have a part number for that yet. But they're like, no. As soon as you have it, like I want
to be the first guy, the first person.
So these guys are willing to buy it sight unseen without even knowing what the price is going to be.
That's pretty dope. Do you find that? I mean, I know you mentioned Marco Bezzecchi had a suit last year from eBay that did really well. Do you find? I mean, and I'll maybe attribute a little of that to the VR46 Academy kind of thing, because I think if he was on his own, it might have been a little bit of struggle, like Alex Lorenzo or one of these other guys who are really skillful but don't have the same relationship with Rossi. This Rossi effect. I mean, do you see that from other riders in the industry, or possible? I mean, maybe a Pedro Acosta and maybe obviously Marc Marquez, but like, I don't know if Marc Marquez, I know Ducati's happy with what Marc Marquez is doing, but I think it seems like Rossi sells a lot of stuff.
Marc, next to Rossi, Marc is the only guy that has the name to sell stuff, realistically. Like, I'll be 100% next to Rossi. Marc is the only real, truly marketable person. The one thing that Mark needs to start doing, if I were like on his management team, is in the next couple of years, Mark needs to start looking at what is he going to do after racing. Rossi started looking at that pretty early. And that's when he started the VR46 Academy. That's when he started this. That's when he started, he's already had a management company. Most people don't know, but most of the t-shirts and hats and everything made and sold at MotoGP events are actually made by VR46. So like on his roster, he was making all the shirts and swag for Danny Pedrosa up until their argument issue, whatever. He actually used to produce all of Marc Marquez's t-shirts, hats, and everything else that were sold. Jorge Lorenzo, when they were teammates, a lot of his stuff was also getting done through VR46. So like this guy's been a businessman alongside being a racer for a long time.
Right.
And I think that's the one part that I don't see Marquez doing is like Marquez now needs to start thinking about, hey, what comes after racing?
Right.
Like, how do I keep my legacy going in racing when I'm not actually racing? And the only way to do that is similar path to Rossi, start looking for talent, start managing talent, open up a management company, manage the talent, find the right talent, nurture that talent. Now Mark, I don't know who he gets his swag made by now, but same thing, start an apparel company to sell your swag, to sell other people's swag, to find ways to stay relevant in the business when you're no longer in the business. Because once you're gone, you're gone. Jorge Lorenzo made a lot of money during his racing years because that was the peak of guys getting paid a lot of money to race, the early 2000s to the early, teens. But now what does Jorge Lorenzo do? He does commentary here and there, but he's not
scooters. He's on scooters.
Yeah. He's not like actively in motorcycling. Danny Pedrosa is a test rider, but he's not actively in motorcycling.
Right. And I mean, at this point, and 50 Cent come to mind when after Dre started Beats and he did his Monster Beat thing and he was advised he should do something completely different. And so he got into television, right? Is it
we got
too
to
late
water
for
first?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. Exactly. But is it too late for these guys to get into that kind of thing and to even play catch up? Should they be maybe looking at something that hasn't been done so that at least they can be the first to do it in a sense?
The thing is, they have a platform now, and they need to leverage the platform they have now to make sure that their next platform already has a launching platform. Because once you're out of the spotlight and you try to launch something, now all the work is on you. Right. Versus right now, Marc Marquez has a spotlight. He's with Ducati. He's on the factory team. He's on the best bike. This is the time for him to start using that to market other things that he's doing. Because, his showy check is not going to go keep arriving forever. His Alpine Star check isn't going to keep arriving forever. And his Ducati check isn't going to keep arriving forever. Right.
No, man, that's that. Yeah, you have a good point there. That's the crazy part about everything. That's interesting. So outside of the suit and stuff like that, are you guys already, as far as Dainese, already pushing out new gear for the season?
Yeah. A lot of the stuff that we introduced last year is arriving now. We have obviously with helmets, it's mainly new graphics. We have a new helmet that's going to launch later in the summer, which is a composite helmet with a drop-down visor on the inside. So it's more of a sport touring type of helmet.
Okay.
On the Dainese side, we have a couple of new items. We have some new suits. We have one new suit, the Laguna Seca 6. The Laguna Seca is like our #1 best-selling suit.
Okay.
It's been that way forever. And so we have a new version of it with some new materials, lighter weight. One of the things that we're testing more and more, and we found that it's worth doing, is actually replacing a lot of the panels with a lot of the new textile materials that are as durable as leather, but more breathable, more stretchable. And we've been looking at this for a long time, and there's like a couple of companies that are doing it now, but we're only putting it in certain areas because we still see the value in leather in like the really, really high impact areas or the really high abrasion areas.
Right.
But for fit and feel, like there's actually materials that you can replace the chest and use this material. And now it gives you a little bit more stretchability. And it gives you the opportunity to customize it a lot better because it's easier to screen print onto a textile than it is to screen print onto leather.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I had a Laguna Seca was my first race suit. Now it correct me if I'm wrong. That doesn't have the D-Air package in the
No,
latest version, right?
no, the only two suits that have the D-Air are the D-Air Mazzano and the D-Air Magello. So the Mazzano is the cowhide, and the Magello is the kangaroo.
Okay.
We also have another suit called the GPA. It's called the Demone, but that suit is not really for sale. You can only get that if you register with us and have a race license with a company that we work with. And then you can only buy that suit as a custom suit through one of our stores because it's the MotoGP suit.
Got you.
So the same suit that you see all the guys in GP, World Superbike, that's technically their suit. And it's much different than even the Magello.
Got you. Good to know. And so is the custom work suit that suit, or is the custom work suit the Mugello just customized?
No, you can pick a Laguna Seca as a custom suit, a Mazzano, a Magello, or if you qualify for the Demone, you can get the Demone as well. And then you can pick how much you want to customize it. Like normally I tell most people, 90% of people really don't need custom fit. They want custom fit because, it's made for me.
Right.
Custom fit is not, it's if you're more than 10% off of what a standard size is, then you might want to look at custom fit. Or if the armor is not in the right place to protect you, or if the suit is too loose or too tight, that's when you look at custom fit. But if you're within like 10% of an off the rack suit, get the off the rack suit because you're not going to get that much more. The concept that people have for custom fit is that they're going to get a wetsuit and it's going to fit them like a glove.
Right.
And I always tell people, I was like, look at all the guys in GP when they're walking around. They all look like they got saggy Pampers on. That's the way the suit looks. It's not meant to look good. It's meant to function well. So what we're really doing is we're adjusting it so it functions better with your body because you're outside the dimensions of a standard size suit. But you'll get customers, and not just us. I mean, you can ask any custom manufacturer. You'll get people that come back and be like, well, this is like 1 centimeter too big. Like this should be skin tight. Like, no, it shouldn't, dude. It's leather. It's not. You're not wearing a Under Armour.
Right.
No, I've seen in GP their suits look perfect. Actually, no. Look, their suits look like shit. Not just like everybody's suit when they're standing. They're loose here.
Yeah.
They're loose here. They're sagging the back. But when they're in the riding position and the arm stretches out and all this material that looked like, scrunched up when they were standing, now it stretches out. The armor's in the right place. They can move. Like that's a custom fit suit. It's not a wetsuit. And that's one of the hardest things, man, when it comes to custom fit.
Right.
To try to get across to customers because
I was gonna say education, right? I mean, education is the biggest thing and you can't tell people they're not educated because they'll get offended.
Oh yeah. No.
So
I mean, usually what we do is we'll put them in a standard size and we'll review the standard size with them that's closest to their size. And we'll tell them realistically in a custom suit, these are the things that'll be adjusted slightly to fit better and so forth and so on. So we kind of set their expectations at the beginning. And that way, when they get the suit, they already had those expectations because they were in a standard size. They were kind of already told how things were going to fit. And in worst case scenario, if something is wrong, when you come back to the store and you put it on and we review it with you and we're like, you know what, this actually doesn't look right, we'll fix it for free. Like that's part of the Custom Works insurance.
Right. Okay.
So, realistically, like when we do a custom fit suit, the money that's paid for the custom fit part is for the alteration of the pattern, for the extra material, for changing the material, and it's for the insurance that if we find the suit is not technically correct, we're going to cover the repair for free.
Nice.
And a lot of companies don't do that. A lot of companies, hey, the suit arrived from whatever country, went straight to your house. This is the way it fits. Hey, that's just the way it is. We're not going to adjust it. It'll stretch, it'll do this, it'll do that. And they'll kind of wipe their hands of it. But then again, that suit is maybe only $1,800. Our suit with custom fit and everything else, depending on the suit, could be like $3,000.
Right.
But for $3,000, we're going to give you that extra value.
We appreciate that. When we spend that kind of money.
Yeah.
Get a little bit of value. I won't even say that. Let's talk about, we're talking off air and let's talk about, prices going up. You had mentioned, motorcycle pricing. Is it just gear that's going to start going up? And what's causing it to go up?
I think it's going to be across the board. We're going to see like anywhere from 2 to 5 or 6% increases on a lot of products, not just motorcycle products, but I think there's a lot of products that we don't realize. We're in a global economy. So, I don't want to get political, but when we start putting tariffs on other countries, eventually that price gets passed along to the consumer.
Right.
And
Always.
yeah, always, man.
Gas prices, everything.
Well, it's crazy. One of the last times we had major price increases in the motorcycle industry, especially with parts and apparel, was during COVID.
Right.
And it was just before COVID, we actually had a tariff put on products coming from China.
Right.
But that tariff actually didn't raise the price that much. The price at that time only raised on average like 2%. What really caused the price to go up is after COVID, the container cost for shipping from all different countries had gone through the roof. So a typical 40-foot container coming from, let's say, China to the port of California reasonably cost between $3,800 and $4,800 bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about a 40-foot container, you can fit probably, I don't know, depending on the model of helmet, you can fit 2,000 helmets on that container.
Right.
So if you got $3,800 in shipping and you divide that by 2,000 helmets and do some quick math, it's $2 a helmet to ship the helmet from China to the US.
Right.
And that price gets absorbed into the overall retail price. During COVID, those same containers were $40,000 to $50,000.
Oh, wow.
So now imagine, it was $2 per helmet when it was at, $4,000, but now at $50,000, those same 2,000 helmets, $25 a helmet to ship it.
Right. Is that when you say things are out of stock?
Somebody's got to eat that.
Right.
And that's why we did have a lot of inventory out of stock, and again, it's a ripple effect because the material has to get to the factory. The material comes from another place. That cost increased to get it to the factory. And then the factory got it. The factory produced the material. That finished material had to get shipped. That cost increased. Right. So the factory increased the price. The shipping increased the price. Like it just dominoed effect.
Right.
So I think we got more of a kick in the balls during COVID than we will from just tariffs.
Right. And just to go back to that a little bit, you guys had to make a decision. Do we put the cost to customers and how will it affect the brand? Or do we say things are out of stock and how will that affect the brand?
We never like to default to not being in stock. Mm-hmm. Like we, somewhere we have to eat some of it, somewhere we have to pass some of it along. Obviously here in the US, we have distributors we work with. So Parts Unlimited is the AGV distributor for in the US. They have a lot of inventory. They are constantly bringing in inventory. And at some point, the inventory they bring in costs more than the inventory they have. So there's a certain point where it's like, well, now we're technically losing money because we have to resell these to dealers and then dealers have to resell them to customers. Right. And obviously each person needs to make a certain percentage to make it make sense to stay in business with that product.
Right.
So then we have to increase the MSRP of the product because the cost here went up, the cost there went up. This person's still expecting to make their percentage. This person's still expecting to make their percentage. And we need to stay competitive with other people in the market as well. If the percentage that you can make selling our product goes down way more than somebody else's, you're going to sell somebody else's product.
Right.
But then we also have to do this calculation where we keep the consumer in mind, because if I'm selling a plastic helmet at $300 and everybody's selling it at $200, I'm not going to have volume either. So so it's, this is, like I said, I'm the money guy. So I always have to figure out a way to balance, like keeping the consumer happy, staying competitive to the market demands, but still covering the cost of actually the product itself. There's a cost to making these products and shipping them and getting them in.
Right. So are we at a point in Dainese where you guys are still trying to figure it out? Because I don't know, every country has jumped into the fray of tariffs and stuff like that. So
Well,
is it kind of like, we adjust as things happen?
no, see, that's the other big problem is, if there's stability, if everybody decides today, all right, all the countries agree we're going to increase the tariff 10%. Okay, good. There's agreement here. There's stability. We understand what's going to happen for the next 14, 18 months. But when we have somebody that says, I'm going to increase the tariffs 50%, and then 3 days later, I'm not going to do that. Like, now that's uncertainty.
Right.
It's like, well, imagine if we had decided, okay, well, we need to increase the prices, but now he changed his mind, and then we need to go back. No, we can't.
Right.
And the thing is, you can't decrease prices once you increase prices, because now you devalue all the inventory.
Right.
So this is why, like, we don't like to jump really quickly to change prices. We don't like to make knee-jerk reactions. We wait. We look at what the situation is. We look at how sales are going. We look at all these different factors before we just jump in and we're like, all right, we're increasing prices. Because again, the biggest problem with increasing prices is once an item goes up, it never goes down again.
Yeah,
I don't care what it is.
You kind of touched on what I was going to ask in a few words back, as far as looking at sales and see, because I was going to ask you, how is the consumer reacting back to the pandemic? Did they still bought like they normally would? Did they push back? Do you kind of see that's going to happen this time?
2020, 2021, and 2022 were probably the three biggest years for the motorcycling industry since like the 90s.
Okay.
Like, legit.
Yeah.
Because we had a couple of things all kind of come together at the same time. We had people that
we're all going to die. You got to live now.
Well, a little bit of that maybe. No, but you think about it. You couldn't go out for an extended period of time. So that means you're not going to clubs. You're not going drinking. You're not going out eating. You're not spending money on anything. And your bank account is just going up and up and up. Then on top of that, the government is giving you money. Yeah. So your bank account is going up and up and up more.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you could get out of the house, what's the first thing you want to do? I'm going to buy a motorcycle. I'm going to buy a bicycle. I'm going to buy, so like a lot of industries had big booms.
Oh yeah, dude, I couldn't get I wanted to get a 110 dirt bike for my daughter. Dealers didn't have them, and the used ones were selling more. Like 5-year-old used more than what the dealers are asking. There was I ended up getting like a off-brand just to get something, but it was ridiculous. So no pandemic this time, just politicians doing political stuff for better for everyone, I guess. So how do you think things are going to move? And do you think it's also going to affect like motorcycle purchasing as well, not just the gear?
No, the thing that affects motorcycle purchasing more than anything else is interest rates, because most people buy all their motorcycles on a loan. Mm-hmm. And right now interest rates are still really high. Ridiculous. People that want motorcycles are always going to buy motorcycles. I knew people that were buying motorcycles in Long Island from crooked ass dealers for like 19% interest. Yeah. Fast Freddy, just anybody from New York, if you tell them about Freddie, they know exactly who I'm talking about. That place used to sell you 3 credit cards. Each of them had 18% interest, and then all 3 credit cards would be used at the same time to buy your bike, and your loan would be pay off your credit cards. And people would do it because they wanted a bike. And then that bike would disappear because they couldn't afford the payments, and the insurance company would have to cover it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. And well, does that go into another question? Should, I guess, from a, all companies fall under the federal business guidelines, right? Mm-hmm. So
supposedly,
are they too small to even get noticed? Is the issue where smaller companies like that can take advantage of people, and state government, federal government don't even recognize anything that's happening there?
But is it taking advantage of you to tell you, hey, this is the deal? I can't get you a loan, but I can get you these 3 credit cards. And then we can buy your bike with these 3 credit cards. And then this is your payment. Actually, your payment is not fixed because it's a credit card. So you just pay as much as you can.
it kind of is. I remember
it's unscrupulous, but it's not illegal.
No, it's not. It's not. No, it's definitely not illegal. But it. I mentioned education earlier, buyer beware kind of thing.
Yep.
And again, from it's tough, especially smaller companies when you're trying to make money tend to cut more corners
Yep.
than companies who are more established and stuff like that. So I get it from both sides. So I guess there's some education that needs to happen for the consumer.
Yep.
But where do they go to get educated?
Honestly, man, I always tell everybody, don't buy a bike from the first place you go. Shop around. It's just like anything else. Very, very few people go to one car dealership and buy the car they want. They shop around, they get prices, they get interest rates, they get payments, they understand how much, like you have to put in your due diligence. 20 years ago when a motorcycle was like $8,000, $8,000. Yeah, if you're 17, $8,000 is a lot, but it's $8,000, man. I'm not gonna default possibly on an $8,000 loan. I'm not gonna end up, living in the street because of an $8,000 loan. Now the motorcycles are, well, you could. I mean, bad decisions happen all the time. Now the motorcycles are 25, 30,000. You're talking about motorcycles that are the same price as some cars. So, and cars are a big investment for people. They're the second biggest investment most people make after a home. So now that motorcycles are in that car range, like now you really need to hey, let me do my due diligence. Let me shop around. Let me see what's available. Let me see what I can do, what financing I can get. Let me see what financing the dealer offers, what financing I can get on my own.
Right.
Like take your time and really look at, and don't just look at the cost of buying the bike. This is, I tell this to my friends that buy cars as well. You can buy something, doesn't mean you can afford to own the thing you buy.
Right.
So look at what you're buying, understand the cost of ownership of it. And when I say cost of ownership, I'm talking about insurance,
service.
How much insurance? Yeah. How much is insurance going to cost? Mm-hmm. Well, it turns out that, you're 18 years old and this is a 1,000cc bike. So the insurance on this bike is $4,200 a year.
Right.
$4,200 a year. Do the math, man. That's an extra $200+ a month you got to pay just for the insurance.
Right. Oh yeah.
So now add that to the payment. Now I'm at $700, $800 a month just to own the bike.
Yeah, and it wasn't. We mentioned this on the show earlier this, on Monday. When I was that age, young people, 20 in my 20s, right? I wasn't buying a $20,000 bike, $30,000 bike, $15,000 bike, $10,000 bike as a young person. But I see so many young people out there on bikes over 20 grand. BMWs. I guess if for the Yamahas, it'd have to be a M1 versus a R1. But BMWs, the Aprilias, MV Augusta, a lot of young kids buying some really expensive bikes. So, is it that they're just doing really well in life, or are the dealers just giving them high ass interest rates?
It could be a combination of both. I don't know exactly who they are, but they all on YouTube. YOLO. You only live once. Again, I don't see people in their teens making $35 an hour.
Right.
Unless, and a lot of them buy it for show. A lot of them think they're going to make money off it. I mean, I hate to say it. I meet a lot of people that think they're going to make money off their bike on social media, or they're going to get free this, or they're going to free that. They don't understand there's a lot of work that you have to put into to be coming to that point where you can actually get some return on your investment when you're doing social media. But hey, I'm going to say this too. When I was young, I bought a bike I couldn't afford because I really wanted that bike and I made that shit work. Worked my ass off.
Right. That's different though, right? Because you could buy an expensive bike, and I'll say this, if you know yourself, you'll make it work. Yeah. Right. And I think, But I had a friend of mine say this to me once because we were talking about something, and I was like, "Oh, you can just do this, and that, and you'd be all set." And he turned to me and was like, "No, you can do that. Not everybody can do that." So, I mean, I think, when you know yourself, you can do it. But there are people who take risk and gamble, not just on bike stuff in life. that maybe, they don't have the experience or mentorship or just don't care, I guess. I don't know. And put themselves in that position. And like you say, they don't recognize the work that goes into creating content and doing all these things. It's not like the bike sits in the yard or the driveway, or you ride up and down and you think it work. It is an effort.
It's an effort. Insta360 cameras are expensive. Cardios are expensive. Cardio microphone system. Like, there's other money that you need to put there. But I will say this, man, and I always come back to this, as I see a lot of Ducatis out there on Dunlops. And that's because they bought a bike they can't afford. And so they end up putting Dunlops instead of Pirellis back on the bike. So you got to make it work. Once you make the commitment, I always tell everybody, if you make the commitment, see it through. If you can't afford it, sell the bike, do what you got to do, and then learn from that mistake. And next time you won't make that mistake. It's not motorcycling that's the problem. Sometimes it's just, energetic enthusiasm. And energetic enthusiasm, and gets the better of you at the dealership. And next thing you know, you're signing on the dotted line, and then you get home, and like a month later, when that bill comes, that's when it hits you like, oh damn, I got a bike now.
It's very interesting, and I feel bad for people that put themselves in that situation, because some people don't recognize how to get out of it, and don't, and really screw up their lives for until they figure it out, right? Until they figure it out. Now, I also want to bring up like the social media people, because I find that the most people that talk to me, because I tend to look at people's profile and then I judge them. I don't just look at the comment and judge them. You know what I mean? Because and I usually don't it's funny because I do a show and stuff like that. I really don't like talking to people. You know what I mean? If I'm at the track,
same here.
You come up to me and talk to me. I'm never gonna walk into your pit area and say what's up, and then where's
I'm such and such a person.
I'm not that guy. Depart and like one of my buddies like, oh, just go talk to so and so. I'm dreading to walk over. So I don't comment on people's posts. But I found some people commenting on a couple of posts I've done. And they just make assumptions, and not everyone. The people that make assumptions, from what I can tell by looking at their profile, they have no bikes posted. There's nothing about bikes, nothing at all. But they're telling me what my gear is, what this is, what that is, and it's always with it. And I commented on one guy, and he apologized and whatnot and so forth. You know what I mean? But it was just one of those weird things that, like, how people are just throwing out negativity without even asking, hey, how long you been riding? Or you've been here before, anything. It's just kind of like, you're just dumb, stupid, and you shouldn't be riding. How does the motorcycle industry combat that? And I know it's a small percentage.
There's always going to be trolls, man. I hate to say it, but in every industry, if you go online, I mean, online is, it's 50-50 hate and love.
Yeah.
And, if I know a lot of people that I'm talking millions of followers, and all of them don't ever look at their comments. They turn all the comments off as far as them getting notification on comments, because they could care less. The engagement is between the people in their comment section and other people in their comment section. They don't engage with anybody. The only time I will say this is, all my friends that know me, that I work, play with on social media, I usually will call them out when they make errors. And they'll call me out too when I make errors, which is fine. This is a helpful banter.
You're right.
I do the same thing. Right. And I do the same thing with other people that I know. Like I have a lot of people that I work with that are influencers. And then I have people that I know that I call influenzas, because they're just germs, man. Like they don't add anything to the conversation, and they always bring up negativity. And then if people call them out on that, then they'll call the people back out on, oh, you guys are always negative in my comments. Well, you bring that energy to yourself.
Oh yeah. One guy called this guy out and was like, don't you feel stupid now? Because I posted all my trophies. I was like, nah. Okay, this is what I can do. And this guy was like, don't you feel stupid? And the guy that was talking trash, he's like, nope. And it's
Nope.
just like they don't care.
They don't care.
They do not care. And like I had a Dainese jacket on, summer jacket, some Revit jeans, and Alpine Star boots, right? So it's casual wear, but it's still some protection. And they were just like, go get motorcycle gear. I'm like, it's the Dainese logo is right on my sleeve. You can see it. It's pretty bad, and I think I'm gonna have to become like what you're saying. These guys and women probably just don't pay attention to the comments, because
you got to turn off the comments, whether it's on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, even on YouTube. Like, you want to have some engagement with your followers, but you got to find the right platform to have engagement with them, because out of every 10 comments, probably 2 are going to be negative comments. And then if you look at their profile, 9 times out of 10, they've got 5 posts. They don't follow anybody. Like, you're always going to get troll bots and everything else. Like, it's great to engage with your followers the right way. Like, right now, there's a couple of people that we follow online, or that I follow online, that are putting out a lot of misinformation. And when people call them out on that, it's not like the people are calling them out in a negative way. They're just calling them out, hey, that's wrong.
Right.
And all of a sudden now they use that negativity to create controversy, to try to create more content, to try to gather more followers.
Yeah.
And
I see that. And it's ridiculous, because even, and I don't understand, and I say ridiculous because I don't understand that, like, that mentality, because you're doing more harm than good. And the misinformation thing is huge. And there are a lot of people in this space that are getting a lot of followers and growing. And, I will say this about myself in this show. I have people like you on, I have master mechanics on, I have people in the industry on, and they talk. Like, you will never hear me tell you how to ride. You never hear me tell you how to wrench a bike or any of that stuff, because that's not my expertise, and I don't try to pretend on that, because I don't want somebody to say, hey, I listened to 45 and he told me to go do this, and now I'm all jacked up. And I think there are a lot of people, a good amount of people on social media, and even this morning I saw one person, had a post of a wreck, and they say they're done. Right. And or something to that effect, they're done. And when you look at the video, they're not telling you why they're done. You're just like, halfway through the video, I still don't know why you're done. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done now.
No, I mean, you got your clickbait. Like, one of the things that I think we spoke about this before, one of the biggest things on social media right now that unfortunately there's no way to combat it, is there's not a lot of clarity. There's a lot of people on social media that are getting paid by companies to push certain products, but they don't anywhere in their channel, anywhere in their content, say this is a paid advertisement. They'll always spin it as, this is my personal experience, this and this.
Yeah.
But then when everybody knows that product is trash. Yet on your channel, you're talking about how it's so great and how it's this, and it turns out that that company is paying you $6,000-$7,000 to post this much in this many days, and this is I have a very, very, and you can talk to anybody I work with. Anybody we work with, I will not pay you. I don't want to pay for your opinion, and that's not just influencers. Like, there's actually editors at certain motorcycling magazines and big motorcycling channels that have what are called paid tutorials, where they're like, they'll call you and say, hey, you got this new product that just came out. I want to test it. All right, cool. I'll send you the product to test it. But if you want me to give you like a full page on this and a video and this, it's going to cost this much money. Wow. Now, wait a second. You want to test my product to speak about it,
but you don't want to purchase it.
I shouldn't pay you to do that, because then I'm influencing your judgment. Because guess what? If I pay you $9,000-$10,000 and then you give my product a bad review, that's the last time you're going to get any product or any money from me.
Right.
So now, does that incentivize the editor to say, this is the greatest bike that I've ever seen, this is the greatest jacket, these gloves fit amazing, oh my God, and I see that even with non-editors, like a lot of influence out there, and even the misinformation. Like, I get calls all the time. It's like, hey, is this true? Is this true? And I'm like, that's not true. Well, why is this person saying it? I'm like, because people talk shit. I don't know what to tell you.
And there's no regulation. So, I mean, I know the platforms, they try to do their best to have some regulation, but it's usually around dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
Not necessarily what people are saying, and they're not swearing or doing anything derogatory, anything like that. So they just kind of let it go. And I was talking to a mechanic yesterday that works on my bikes, and he was talking about a influencer that he can't stand and just doesn't know what he's talking about and all this
It's
stuff.
a long list, man.
It's a long list. And then I was just like, listen, man, you got to do something. You got to do a show. You got to do a show, and you got to talk about it. So now him and I are going to be doing something regular to talk about fixing bikes and that kind of thing, because it from just, I mean, from just, I guess, being a human being, but just from the perspective of new to the industry, new to stuff. And I go to YouTube for a lot of things. If I wanted to, when I was building out my cargo trailer and making it into a toy hauler, I learned a lot of stuff from YouTube. Whatever, I'm learning a new camera, I'm on YouTube because there's a lot of people that make really good content that helps. So it's very useful stuff out there. But when it's mixed in with all the negativity or misinformation, I should say, it really, I don't want to necessarily spend 3 hours, 4 hours watching content that if I found the right video, I can figure it out in 10, 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's some good videos out there. The problem is, even with the good videos, if you go in the comment section, there's still people in there talking crap.
Yeah.
Throwing their 2 cents in. I mean, I know a lot of engineers until I go on Instagram, and then like, wow, there are so many engineers on this planet. Like, everybody here knows everything about everything.
Yeah.
Like, volumetrics of air compression inside of an airbag. You know exactly what the standards are for pounds per square inch, or metric centimeters of wow, there are so many goddamn engineers on this planet.
And you have time to comment here.
and you have time to comment, to jump on this and comment about how XYZ is incorrect or blah 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 blah. And it's just like, like that again, that's why we tune out. I go into our comment sections when we post new products up. Mm-hmm. And I start going through there, and whether it's ourselves or any of our competitors, a new product comes out, right? And it looks like it's going to be a higher end product. Go into any comment section of any manufacturer of any motorcycle product. When a new product comes out, there will be somebody in that comment section, it's too expensive. Then don't buy it. If you broke, don't buy it. Why you got to come here and tell me you broke?
Yeah, exactly, man.
I got to sell a kidney. Sell a kidney, man. You in the wrong sport. This is an expensive sport.
Yeah, I think they need to be like me and say less.
Yeah, say less.
Because trust me, I'll say nothing. I'll tell anyone what they want to do. I mean, if they about to trip and fall over something, I might say, hey, look out, because you might run into that. But outside of that, and this is, I mean, I think for us, we know better. I think for me, being in the IT industry for so long, I'm somewhat savvy in things online and stuff like that. But for people who are not in that industry, and they need to be savvy to look out for all type of crap. And now you have to look out for what people are saying, because, in theory, we want everything to be available to all of us. But the information in that is just skewed, and we see it on the racetrack. We see it at clubs and stuff like that, where motorcycle clubs, where people are saying things and they're badgering people about not having the right experience in a business, and sometimes they don't. And what comes to mind is this influencer was talking about a Pirelli tire that was chewed up in Daytona, but didn't realize that there's a Daytona tire.
Yeah. Yeah. It's most of the stuff that's online, it realistically is opinion. There's the amount of fact that's online from media influencers is very small. Most of it is opinion, and some of that opinion is paid for.
Right.
If you look at the best that do anything in the world, like now you're dealing more with fact. Hey, here's the fact. This particular item does this. These are measurable facts. That's why when I start talking with somebody and they're like, hey, we want this information. Here's the facts. Here's the measured facts. This is what the data shows. This is what the tested data shows. After that, everything else is opinion. Well, how does it fit? It's a little loose. On somebody else, it's a little tight. On somebody else, it's just right. So now we're dealing with opinion. The fact is that the armor in that jacket, and that jacket does this. This material is good for this abrasion resistance. It has this level of CE rating, whether it's single A, double A, or triple A. It has this, like, these are the facts. Everything else is opinion. So if you want to follow someone's opinion, you're more than welcome to. I'd rather follow the facts. I'd rather follow, like, if I'm going to buy gear, I'm going to buy gear that meets the needs that I have, because my needs might not be your needs, and that meets the criteria that I want. Maybe I want my stuff to be AA rated instead of AAA rated, because AAA is sometimes a little bit stiffer, it's a little bit heavier, and I want something a little bit lighter.
Right.
I'm not going to turn around and then, poo on somebody else that's, oh, your jacket's only single A rated. Poor person. Like, like, no, maybe that single A is all they want. Maybe, they're not doing anything out of the ordinary. They just want something very lightweight. At least they're wearing some gear. At least they're wearing gloves. Like, this is what I don't understand. Everybody should encourage everybody to wear gear, and should encourage them to wear good gear or certified gear. But don't worry if they're not wearing full leathers on the street.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Like, yeah. No, and it's exactly that. And talking about poor or not poor, and I'm not sitting here saying I'm rich by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't want to sit here and be like, hey, I got all these things.
Yeah.
Right. Because I don't want to sound pompous or whatever the word is. It's just kind of like, this moment. This is what I'm doing. I don't want to, because, there's a lot of people walk around with their keys swinging around so you can see, oh, you got a BMW. Oh, you got a Lambo. Oh, you got this. It's like, not one of those people.
I kid you not. My favorite jacket is like $250, man.
Yeah.
It's the best. It's my favorite jacket that I wear, that I ride with all the time. I love that jacket. It's $250. Could I buy it? Find it? Sure.
Yeah.
I love this $250 jacket.
Oh yeah, same here. And and this guy was like, you get a race suit, and it's like, I'm on a Panigale, but I'm not doing 200 miles on the street.
Yeah.
Like I'm riding regular on the street. So I'm not one of these guys that are cutting through traffic and doing all this ridiculous. Women cutting. I go to the racetrack if I want to do that. Yeah. And I'm fortunate to be able to do that. So I can wear, Kevlar jeans on the street and casual looking boots, because the only way I'm going down is if I got a flat or somebody takes me out.
Yeah.
That's because I'm not doing anything stupid on the street. But and a lot of people, they don't really think, and it's unfortunate. I mean, I think for me, I'm fortunate because I have this platform. If I really want to show them out, I can show them out. But it's not the best way to be. And as people say, you got to take the higher road. So I'm trying to do that.
Take the high road, man. I've been in this for a long time, and trying to answer all the trolls and trying to push back the negativity. The best way to push it back is to ignore it, man.
Yeah.
You do what you do. You do it well. You give the information that you know. You don't give information you don't know. You let somebody else that knows about that speak about that.
Right.
And if there's inaccuracies, there's always a possibility of inaccuracies, but stay true to what you're doing, and that's it.
Yeah, no doubt. And we all misspeak as human beings, especially in the fly. So it's one thing to get one word wrong, or maybe I might have said Honda and I meant BMW or whatever, kind of thing, right? These things happen, but that's not the same as what some people are doing. Well, man, I want to thank you for coming on. And I can't wait to do it again. Who's winning the World Superbike this weekend, or all three races?
Bagnaia, man. No.
This is World Superbike. Bulega. The other Italian.
All the Italians with the beat. No, Bulega. I think Bulega is the guy to beat this weekend. I've seen some of the times, and I know Top Rack is still going to be in there. Injuries or not, I just think Bulega, man. Bulega has got that fire in his belly, man. He wants that check at the end of the year. That number one check is big.
So I hear. We'll find out on Monday. Louis Ortega from Dainese. My name is Rex45. Peace.
Take care.